Security and passwords. So let's start with passwords. Why should we even use them? All they seem to do is get in the way if we forget them, and it makes it even harder to access what we need, right? Well, passwords actually help keep our data secure. This is especially important here at Voices of Tomorrow, as we work with a lot of personal information, such as social security numbers, bank information, and more. If we did not put a password on, say, our bank, we could easily log in and access our money, but someone who has bad intentions would also be able to do the same thing. So to keep this important information safe, passwords were created. Why do some passwords require numbers and symbols when those are harder to remember? Bad people have computers, and those computers are designed to steal passwords so that they can take information those passwords are protecting. The harder you make your password, the less likely that those bad people's computers can figure out what the password is. It's way easier for me to show you though. So let me open up a website known as security.org. How secure is my password? If we open up this website, we'll be able to type in a password and it will tell us how long a computer that a bad person has in order to steal our password. So let's try typing in the word Halloween. Nothing capitalized, just Halloween. Halloween. If we use the password Halloween, it would take a computer 2 minutes to steal this password. That's not very good. So this is why some passwords require us to use symbols and uppercase letters and numbers, because it makes it more complicated. Let's try and do the exact same word. The only thing that we're going to change is the H is going to be capitalized. Capital H, lowercase Alloween. You can now see that instead of taking 2 minutes, it now takes the computer 19 hours just because we made one letter capitalized. This is a huge improvement, but it's still not enough. So let's add some numbers and symbols. We will replace all the A's with an @ sign, and the O with a 0, and E with a 3. So now we have capital H, @ sign, LL0, W33N. It now takes a computer 3 weeks. This is good, but there's a reason that this is still very low. One is that we are using a very common English word as our password, and the other is that our password is rather short. If we really want to make it hard for computers, we need to make the password longer. So let's not change anything, but just add the numbers 59. By doing this, our password now takes 400 years just to figure out. This is why it's important to make complex and long passwords. I don't think that very many bad people will be living long enough to see this password guessed after 400 years. So to help us keep things safe, let's put a password on your laptop. If you have a MacBook, that was done already when you set up your MacBook. So for the people who have Windows laptops, follow along. First, I need you to click on the Start menu, and then go down to the Settings button. Now that we've opened up the settings, on the far left, over here, you should see a section that says Accounts, and it looks like a little green person. Clicking on this will open up a new menu on the right. We're going to look for the key that says Sign In Options. Clicking on Sign In Options will allow you to access this. And for you, you should see a section that says Password. You will click on Password and then click on the button for New that says Add, and then follow the on-screen instructions. You have now secured your computer with a password so that if someone were to steal your computer, they wouldn't be able to access the data on top of it. What are some other ways that you might keep yourself safe, you might be thinking? And if you're not, then it may be important to start thinking. The next big thing to keep yourself safe is your email. Do not click on emails from people or companies that you do not know. If you see that there's an email from someone who you do know, but the email has an attachment, like a file, or a link, do not click on the file or link immediately. It is very easy for a bad person to pretend to be someone that you know and send you a file or link that will either damage your laptop or steal your information and the company's information. If you get an email with a file attached or a link, the first thing you should do is check who actually sent the email. You can do this by opening the email and then taking your cursor and putting it over the person's name. Now, you should be able to see the email that the person's name come from. For this person, it's ted.harms@cbre.com. You want to make sure that the email matches the person who sent it to you. For instance, if you get an email from Zamzam, you should make sure that the email is zmohammed@tomorrowvoices.org. If this email does not match the person, immediately let your IT team know, and do not open the link or the file. If the email does match, you should be safe to open the file or the link. The last big advice for keeping yourself safe in our Data Secure is to use different passwords for everything. Your Zoom password should be different from your Microsoft password. Now, why should we do this? Let's say a bad person somehow steals your password for Zoom. If you use the same password for Zoom as you did for Microsoft, and they stole your Zoom password, that means they can also have access to your Microsoft account. The more accounts that you have using the same password means the more access the bad people will have if they steal just one of your passwords. This is also why it's very important that you keep your bank password different from everything else at the very least. If everything has a different password, it can make it difficult to remember them. I understand that. But thankfully, some services exist that help make this easier. They are known as password managers. This is not a requirement, but I do highly suggest looking at password managers to help you keep track of passwords. That way you do not have to remember them all, and you can have different ones for every account that you make. Some suggestions I can give is 1Password and LastPass, as I have used both of these myself. Congratulations! You have now completed the security and password training and are ready to begin keeping our company and your data secure. If you need help with anything else, please be sure to check out any of the other training videos and then ask Matthew for further assistance.